Hello, and welcome to episode 96 of the Stress Knits podcast. My name is Stacy, also known as Stress Knits Yarn on Instagram and Stress Knits on Ravelry. Today is Friday, October 20-something, and I'm coming to you from a very crisp autumnal day in Metro Detroit, Michigan, where I live with my husband Doug and our daughter Eliza. And our pug Esther, who you will hear running around. I had just recorded the episode, and at the very end, Esther was trying to get in. So when she's outside and she's ready to come in, she'll scratch the door a little bit, and she was barking. So I just went and grabbed her and accidentally deleted the file. So here we are. And it's just going to be pure chaos, apparently. Esther. So I have Advents in these bags. Yes. Okay. So, hello. I'm coming to you right off of Rhinebeck weekend. I'm so sorry. This just reminds me of apartment days when all Esther would do is squeak her best. But this time, hey, you gotta come say hi? Come here. This time it's a skunk. Maybe I'll have Esther come say hi. Anyway, yes, so I just got back from Rhinebeck on Tuesday morning. And I've been slowly trying to get back into a routine. I finally got orders out that were purchased the time that I was gone. So if you purchased yarn that was not a pre-order or a custom order, it is on its way. And then custom orders and pre-orders will be out in the next few weeks. I'm so sorry. Yeah. So that's really nice, and just catching up on housework. I need to do laundry today, getting Eliza back into a normal routine, and also trying to fight off a cold. So that's what's going on here, and trying to get Advents out the door. So it's crunch time for Advent calendars. So I need to get everything out in the next few weeks. And international needs to ship first because they take longer to get there. So hopefully everything will start heading out in the next week or two. Yes. So there's that. And that's really what I've been working on. I have a little bit of knitting to show you. So let's do that first. So finished objects. I'm wearing it. This is the classic cuff hat by Purl Soho. It's my go-to hat, especially for gifts, because it just fits really, really well. And I know, like, I have the pattern memorized and all that jazz. The only thing I didn't do this time, I didn't do the tubular cast on because I was just trying to get this hat done for Doug. And yes, this is not mine, it's Doug's. He left it for me so I could podcast, which is really sweet. I knit it in the Mountain Mama colorway, so excuse my hair. Ugh. We're just gonna let that happen for a second. So it is the Mountain Mama colorway. That is actually pretty accurate on the Stress Knits worsted base. So it is my hand-dyed yarn. It's my favorite colorway right now, and I have a sweater planned in this exact yarn, Mountain Mama worsted weight. Actually, I have one skein of it left in the shop. So, yes, Mountain Mama on worsted, and that's what this is. So yeah, there is that. And that is my only finished object. What I've been working on the most, I can't show you. It is a test knit for Andrea Mowry, and I can't show it to you. But I need to get my butt into gear and finish that because it's due in a week and a few days. I have a feeling I might not finish, but I'm gonna try my hardest. So the other test knit that I'm working on is the Telegram by Becky Swarenson, who is Soprano Knits, and it is, I'm in love with this sweater, and I'm honestly just really in love with the silhouette. It actually reminds me a lot of the sweater I'm wearing right now. I got this at Old Navy, and it's exactly what I want in a cardigan. So if the silhouette turns out to be very similar to this, I think I'm just going to knit a plain one and omit the texture and the cable panels if I want to knit another one. So here it is. It is a broken rib stitch with all of the ends. Okay. With a I don't know, is Esther? No. With a cable panel down the side. And this is super fun, but this has hit the back burner so that I can focus on the test knit that's due first. So yeah, there is my Telegram, and I am using Aimee Mondium, which is with Rosa Pomara in the ash colorway. It is living in my Plystra little bag that came with my backpack. So there is that. And then the other thing that I've been working on, I cast on a hatdana for the meetup, but I didn't get to attend the meetup because Eliza was having a bit of a rough time and Doug was trying to find an ATM that had cash because one of them ran out. And yeah, because the only place, because when she gets like that, she needs a little milk to just help calm her down and fill her belly. She's been eating solids for a long time, but she still doesn't quite know when she's full. So milk just helps her feel a little full. And the only place selling milk was cash only. So I need to remember that for next time. So I missed the meetup and I missed the Stone Crop meetup, which bummed me out a little bit, but when you travel with a toddler, stuff like that just happens, right? So it's no big deal. Yeah, but I'm still knitting the hatdana because I love it. So this is by Denise Bayron, and it's beautiful. I am using the Prudence colorway Stress Knits yarn, my hand-dyed yarn again, and I just love Prudence. This was actually from Advent last year, and I love it. I'm using DK instead of worsted because the only way that I'm going to wear this is in my hair. So I wanted it to be a little snugger than it calls for, just because I like things tight around my head if I'm wearing it like a headband. So yeah, that is that. And I can't wait to work on this more. It's just so fun. And it's a little weird at first. I'm not going to lie. It threw me off a little bit at first. But now that I am into it and I can see where I'm at, it's very memorizable. And it's just a simple cable. And I highly recommend this to everybody because no matter how you would wear it, I feel like there's a way to wear it for everybody. So I highly recommend the hatdana, as everybody is right now. And they should be, because Denise is incredibly talented. But I didn't get to meet her and I'm a little bummed. But that's okay. So that is all I've been knitting. And yeah, because I haven't really had time, if I'm being perfectly honest. I have been focusing on advents. I am surrounded by them at the moment. You can't see them. There are some that need to be skeined behind me, some that need to be wrapped behind me. The day that I'm working on right now is on my desk right over here. And so, yeah, that's really what's been eating up the majority of my time. Yeah. So that's what I'm focused on right now, and then I will also be working really hard to get this test knit done. So just a heads up, there may not be a podcast next week because I probably won't have anything I can show you. But that's okay. I'm hoping to put up a vlog or something up for Patreon, and also new whip down episodes are coming. So that's what's on the horizon. And I'm just going to quickly show you one thing that I got at Rhinebeck, New York Sheep and Wool. If you want to see the full Rhinebeck haul, head on over to my Patreon account and you can view it there if you decide to become a patron. If not, I will be showing you my haul periodically as I start knitting with it, because I have plans for every single thing that I bought, which is a record. I'm really excited for it. So first, this is the tote bag that I was carrying. I bought this on Shelly Can's website before the festival. It's a huge tote bag. I stuffed a lot in it, and I love it. So the sweater quantity that I purchased at the Sheep and Wool Festival, I purchased 5 skeins of Peace Fleece from the Harrisville booth. So Peace Fleece, sorry that that's like really bright. Peace Fleece, this is the Palomino colorway, and it is Peace Fleece worsted. They also have a DK weight. And I just love it. So Peace Fleece is 75% Navajo Rambouillet and domestic fine wool and 25% mohair. So I originally went into the Harrisville booth for Nightshades, which I also picked up. And I originally was going to knit the Veronica cardigan, or the Veronica sweater. I don't know how you'd classify it, but it's like this big open front sweater, and yeah, it's kind of like a cape, but not really. It has armholes. I love it. I never know how to explain it, but I've seen many of them. I tried one on when I was in Tennessee at House of Yarn, and I love it. And I thought maybe Nightshades would be perfect for it. But the more that I thought about it, and the more that I researched what other people have used Nightshades for, I decided that I would be knitting a different, cardigan. So I'm going to be knitting the Albini cardigan. I'll link it below in the show notes in the description box. It's just a very simple cardigan, and it's exactly what I need in my wardrobe. So I'm really excited about that. But I saw this in the distance, and there was a sample knit out of this color, and I was like, I need that yarn. It's exactly what I love. It might wash me out a little bit, but that's okay. Because I love it, and if I love something and I feel confident in it, I feel like I look really good. So I originally just purchased 2 skeins, and the more that I was sitting with it, and we were still at the booth, and I looked at Jacqueline and I was like, I'm gonna go get 3 more skeins because I need a sweater quantity in this. And I had just run into Danielle from Gemma Darling Daily podcast, and it was so nice to meet you, Danny, if you're watching, because we've been friends for years on the internet, and we finally got to chat, so that was really exciting. And she was wearing her Felix pullover, which is gorgeous. And I fell in love with that pattern when she started knitting it a while ago. And when I saw this yarn and decided I wanted a sweater quantity, I knew it had to be the Felix pullover by Aimee Christoffers. And so that's what it's going to be. And once I finish my 2 test knits, that is the next sweater that is going to be cast on, because I really, really want it for this winter. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah, I just love this color, and I think it's important to note because I need a lot of yarn to knit my size. So I have it fluctuates. So between a 41-43 inch bust. I have a very generous breast size. It's just genetics. So yeah, and I've been that way my entire life. So it's just the way it is. I've always had to just knit the larger sizes specifically for my chest. So, I think I'm going to be knitting like the second to largest size of the sweater. And to knit, I mean, granted, the sizing in the sweater is not great. I think it goes up to like a 54, if that, so it's not great. But, what is great is for a sweater quantity. So for me, a sweater quantity and worsted weight for a pullover is about 1,000 yards. So I bought 5 of these because they're 200 yards, and for 5 of them, it was about $62. Now, for me to get a sweater quantity that's that affordable is incredible, because I wanted a sweater quantity, but if I have to buy like 4 skeins of fingering weight yarn, that can add up very quickly. And that's why I always knit garments out of my hand-dyed yarn, because it's incredibly accessible for me since I make it. So that's why I always do that. And to be able to afford a yarn that I love and that is woolly and sheepy and is going to remind me of Rhinebeck forever, for that price point is just, it's wonderful. And that's like the first time that I just didn't feel guilty about buying a sweater quantity, because I am going to love this. So I just wanted to put that out there. It is sheepy. It is. Rambouillet is usually pretty sheepy, but the mohair softens it, and I don't know, I love it. And I think people that are sensitive, because I'm putting this on my neck and I don't mind this at all. And I consider myself to be pretty sensitive to the toothiness of wool, and this does not bother me at all. I'd say it's really close to the texture of Brooklyn tweed. It might be a little woolier than Brooklyn tweed, but it's very similar. So I highly recommend checking this out, because the price point is very wonderful, and it's beautiful. So that is the sweater quantity that I got at Rhinebeck. So let's chat about Rhinebeck really quick. So I flew with my daughter Eliza Friday early afternoon. Our flight was at noon. So everything went great. Getting through security with a toddler was the hardest part. But there were very nice families around me that helped me collapse my stroller and get stuff off the conveyor belt. It's funny because I feel like the TSA in the Detroit airport is a lot meaner than the TSA at LaGuardia, which is where we flew out of, because I feel like LaGuardia was much more patient than the Detroit airport. It was very stressful. So that's fine, and we grabbed coffee, and I grabbed her a croissant. Actually, I grabbed a croissant to share, but she took it and just ate the whole thing, which is fine. But it was great, and she was just walking around our gate eating her croissant and sitting on the ledge and watching planes take off, so that was really cool. And she was great on the flight. I had so many people around me who helped keep her occupied. A guy behind me was playing peekaboo. The guy in the aisle across the aisle in the row next to me, if she started getting a little fussy, he pulled down the shade on the window really fast, and it distracted her for a little bit, so that was really great. There was a knitter on the plane, so thank you for helping me get stuff off the plane. I really appreciate that. It was just a really great experience overall. And then we got our rental car, and it took me forever to get the car seat adjusted for her size. It was fine getting it installed, but adjusting the straps on a car seat is very frustrating, especially if you've never done it before. So I was FaceTiming my husband Doug, and he was trying to talk me through the whole thing. I was watching YouTube videos. Like, I was very stressed out, and Eliza was very upset. Yeah, because the planes were really loud, and Esther, I don't know what she has. But yeah, so that was fine. That was the most stressful part of the trip. And then we drove to Kingston, which is about a 40-minute drive, and it was just beautiful. I took a back road at one point, and it dipped me next to the Hudson, and just all the foliage, and I was on the road alone, and really good music was playing, and I was just completely blissful. I loved it so much. It just filled me up. I love it. So that was great. Then we went to our Airbnb, freshened up, and headed over to Needles Up, where I got to see Sandy and Chelsea and Sue, and I didn't stay very long and say hi to everybody, but Chelsea and I got to chat for a while, which was really nice, and Lily and Eliza got to meet, which is super... It was just the best. So that was really great. And then Eliza and I went and grabbed coffee, waiting for Doug, and we went back to our Airbnb and waited for him. And then Saturday was Rhinebeck, and it was really funny because we were returning Doug's rental car since we came in separately. And he was in the car rental place. I stayed in my rental car with Eliza, and he saw somebody, and he was like, I think I recognize that yarn. So, being completely weird, but it's Rhinebeck, so, I mean. But he went up to this woman and asked her who the dyer of her yarn was, and she said, oh, it's Stress Knits Accidental Gemini, which is... What? Somebody used my yarn for their Rhinebeck sweater, and it warms my heart so much. So if that was you, I want to see that sweater. But yeah, Doug was a very proud yarn husband at that moment. I was like, that's my wife, she's in the car. So that was really cool. When we got to the fairgrounds, Doug and I really just kind of laid low. We walked around and saw animals. I ran to the pom-pom booth. That was one of the first stops that I made, and I got some stuff there. And yeah, and then I don't know what Esther has. I need to wrap this up. But yeah, so then I eventually ran in to Jacqueline and Julie and hung out with them the rest of the day. And I pretty much missed the meetups, including the podcaster meetup. So I'm so sorry, but I had to take care of Eliza. Hopefully if we go next year, it'll be better. So yeah, it was just a really great experience. Esther? I don't know what she has. It's really bothering me. So yeah, it was just really great. We got dinner with Jacqueline, Julie, and their moms. And then Sunday, Doug and I went to the city. And unfortunately, it was a really cold, rainy day. So Eliza and I basically stayed in our hotel room the entire day. Well, we were only there for a few hours before she had to go to bed. But we ordered some pizza, and Doug went and got some wine and some coffee, which was really sweet. And our view from our hotel room, so basically... We had the Chrysler building over here, and then on this side was the New Year's Eve ball on top of Times Square. So it was beautiful. It was incredible. I think Esther has crackers. I'm gonna get it in a second. Yeah, because Eliza had soup today. So... it was just beautiful. And then Monday I got to take Doug to some of my favorite places. We went to a Italian restaurant and wine bar for lunch, and it was delicious. Jacqueline and Julie and I went when I was there for Vogue Knitting Live in January, and that was just wonderful. And so I took him there, and we walked around. We saw the Ghostbusters firehouse, and we went to the World Trade Center and did the observation deck, which was really cool. Doug's never done an observation deck before. I've done Top of the Rock before, and it was just a really cool experience. Highly recommend it if you're into that kind of thing. And it's just one of those things where, like, I'll only ever do it once unless I go with, like, my parents or something and they want to do it. But it was a really cool, like, once in a lifetime experience, because I really have no desire to do it again. But it was just really, it was beautiful. And I'm really glad that Doug wanted to do that. And yeah, then we went back to our hotel room and just kind of hung out for a little bit, and then we went out for dessert, and we went to Milk Bar and just kind of sat and chatted and walked around the city a little bit more before it was time to go to bed. And then Eliza did not want to go to sleep that night. I think we finally got her down around 2:30 a.m. and we had to wake up and get out of our hotel room by 4:30 to make it to LaGuardia on time for our flight. So it was a whirlwind, but it was wonderful. And I really hope we're back next year, but I'm not sure, because I think Doug has a job in Colorado that time next year. So maybe I'll just be back. I don't know, but I'd really love to go back, and I hope to come back to New York sooner than that to see friends. Yeah, so it was just a really wonderful time. I love going to Rhinebeck. It was our second year. Yeah. So thank you to everybody who stopped me and said hi. I really appreciate it. And again, I'm so sorry that I didn't make it to the meetup. So if you missed me, I'm really sorry. But hopefully next time. And with that, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of Stress Knits news. So I will not be having an update anytime soon. I have pre-orders for some popular colorways up right now. So Mountain Mama, let me get them. Okay, so I have them all on DK right now. Okay, so I have pre-orders for Palm Lines, Breast Belt, Mountain Mama, and Sweet Disposition. So I think I'm also going to add Prudence to that today, and also I'm going to add DK, because the pre-order right now is Favorite, which is an 80/20 Superwash Merino Nylon fingering, my singles base, 100% superwash fingering, my halo base, which is my halo base is Mohair Silk Cloud, which is alpaca and silk, and then I'm going to add DK for these four, and then I'm also going to add Prudence, because people have been asking me for more Prudence. So that should be up in the shop live by the time you watch this. And then there's also a 10% off code. So use code Rhinebeck, RHINEBECK. It'll be down below for 10% off your purchase. There's plenty of yarn in stock, but also the popular colorways that are up for pre-order. So there is that. Custom orders are still open. I know a lot of people have been asking if custom orders are open. They are. I have quite a few that I'm getting through in the next few weeks. So yeah, so just thank you for supporting my shop. Thank you for supporting my Patreon. Thank you for supporting this podcast. So I will see you probably in 2 weeks when I have more time to knit, and Advents will hopefully be done and sent out by then, so I will be less stressed. But until then, I hope you have a wonderful weekend and week, and I will see you next time. Bye!